Good morning to you if you are in Europe, and good afternoon to you if you are in Asia. Today we will be starting the second peer-to-peer session. So this will be our last session for the team learning phase of our project on leading change, digital transformation of education in the era of artificial intelligence. And today we will be focusing on mainly supporting you with the designing of the innovative teaching practice. But first of all, some admin notes. Please rename yourself, first name, last name, and country. This is particularly important today since you will be interacting with your peers in the breakout room, and also later when you represent your group in the main room. So please do it now, so that later we know who you are and where you are, where are you from. And also, please raise your hand if you have any questions instead of interrupting the sessions and speaking up during the session. If you have any questions throughout the session, you can also use the chat box to post your questions when we are presenting. And we really kindly request you to turn on your video today, since this is a peer-to-peer session, and we are really hoping for high interaction. So please turn on your video if possible to interact with your peers better. And finally, reminder and refresher on the program. So today, 27 July, we are having the second peer-to-peer session. So this is where we are today. And then we have 5 remaining things on our item for the remaining virtual program. So the first one is really important and crucial. It's a check-in meeting with us on 3rd of August, so that we know everything is going well in your team. You were ready with your ITP topic, and you were already set to design the ITP by the end of August. And then we will have a submission, a deadline for you, which will be the first summary draft submission on an AI&ED topic for your ITP on 10th of August. And then we will be having a feedback meeting. So we will be gathering your drafts and then reviewing them and then prepare some feedback so that you can work well for your final submission on 31st of August. And then we will have the closing session and the presentations of your ITP, and then a short evaluation and feedback on 7th of September. We will get in touch with you regarding that. So with that, also let me remind you the invitation criteria, invitation/selection criteria for the SF Classes 16 on-site conference, which will take place between 13 to 15 November in Slovenia. So if you have participated in all 8 sessions or watched the recorded webinars, you should be good. And the 2 peer-to-peer session, as well as the 2 sessions during the action learning phase, 1 feedback session and 1 check-in session. And then, of course, we will highly focus on those participants who successfully complete the pair assignment. So it's the assignment that you will be working on during the whole action learning phase on the innovative teaching practice design. And in terms of selection criteria, we will be focusing on the quality and strength of the designed ITP. And then finally, your commitment to implementing the ITP after you design it to improve teaching and learning scenarios in your school or in your community with teachers from different schools, for example. So with that, today we will have 1 breakout room. And during the breakout room, we will be focusing on 2 key aspects. So please take notes. We will also try to post this on the chat box so that you have it before you go to the breakout room. The first one is very crucial. The first one is on, please discuss a list of artificial intelligence and education area that you were interested to work on. For example, some of the aspects that you have learned from all the sessions, it could be about, understanding AI, designing resources for teachers to understand AI, or using AI to innovate your classroom, like you have learned from the second, third, and fourth session about enhancing engagement in your classroom by designing interactive lesson plans, for example. So please discuss that, share with your peers what are your ideas, what you want to do. And then secondly, after you are done with discussing the first question on ITP, issues and suggestions for effective collaboration. When you work in a team with participants from different country, or in general, another person or group members, often there are issues when it comes to effectively collaborating, and especially in such a short timeline. So please discuss some of the issues that you think you might face, and also share that with your peers. And then please also share some suggestions how you can avoid those to work effectively with each other. Before you leave the breakout room, if from each group, please nominate a representative who will, and in the beginning, please nominate a representative who will take note, and also ensure whether the same person is going to present when we are back in the main room, or a different person will be presenting. And then in the break, so you'll have 20 minutes, about 20 minutes to discuss in a group of 5 to 6. And then later we will have about 20 to 25 minutes discussion in the main room, and to hear from each group. And then so that we all have some ideas about how to work during the action learning phase, and also some ideas about the artificial intelligence and education area that you can potentially focus on to design your ITP. So with that, let us open the breakout room. But before we go to the breakout room, do you have any questions? Let me quickly stop sharing my screen so that I can see your faces, and if you have raised any hands. And in the meantime, I will also try to post the content in the chat box.
Please, I just have some questions.
Yes,
regarding
please.
our grouping, are we grouped randomly? Sorry, I wasn't here a while ago.
Yes, we will get into that. Yes, you have been already paired, and it's already available in the learning platform, and also NG already posted that in Facebook as well. So yes. So we'll give you a little bit of updates on that after the breakout room. Yeah. So I have just posted the breakout room discussion points in the chat box. Hopefully you can see it. So the slide is there. So even if you go to breakout room, it's available.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. So any more questions? Do you know what you need to discuss in breakout room? All good?
Yeah, it's all good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so please make sure that you turn on your video so that, during breakout room, it will be a smaller group, so that you can interact with each other better. And don't forget to nominate someone who will take note, and also someone who will present. So you please sort that out in your group. With that, let me quickly, so right now we have 63 participants, and so we have about 15 rooms. We have between 4 to 5 participants represented. And I say that some of our participants are still joining, so I'll just manually assign. So sometimes you'll see that there are some new participants joining you. So please welcome them, and apologies that we'll have to do that. With that, I'm opening the breakout room now. Right now it's in Singapore time for 10 p.m. So we will be back by 4:30 p.m. So you have 20 minutes, and all the best. So I see that most of you are back. Let me quickly check if there is anyone in the breakout room. Okay, no. So all of you are here. So how was the discussions? Now, I hope you all have a representative from your group. Each group has only 1 minute. So please be precise so that, we can hear from everybody. So in 1 minute, please summarize quickly, the list of ITP topic areas that you have discussed, and then the key issues that you might face, as well as some suggestions you have to overcome those to work effectively with your pair. I saw that first Anna, she raised her hand. I'm not sure all of you who are raising hand, if you are the representative, so that's great. So maybe we start with Anna. Please, Anna, go ahead. 1 minute.
Okay. Yes, thank you. We had a very heated discussion because we were quite confused at first where to start. But we started off with ChatGPT. That was the first tool that we talked about, because I suppose it's because that's the tool we know best.
Yes.
Yes, we would like to use that, but combined with also other AI tools, for example, Canva or other tools that we have heard about here in the webinars. What we talked about a lot was the ethics behind all these tools, because there's no legislation. What is right and what is wrong? What's okay to use and what's not okay to use? And what shall we do when the students use AI incorrectly, or when they cheat, so to say? And how can we what can we do about that, and how can we work with that? We talked about policy. We need more regulations around policy and ethics, data protection, and such things, to protect us, the teachers, and also to protect the students, of course, and how to work around this, because as of now we haven't really got any guidelines concerning this.
And what about the issues that you might face while working in a team, and what are the suggestions for effective collaboration?
Okay, we didn't talk about that because we talked about issues as in there's no legislation about this, so we need better guidelines.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, so we had a great discussion, but the time, we didn't have enough time. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Hopefully when you were in your pair, you will have a really great collaboration. So Fernando asked how, okay, Fernando wants to present first. So maybe Fernando, you go ahead, and then in my screen, I see next is Ruth Nomik from Estonia, Elisa Manero Rodriguez. I can't see the country name. So, and then we'll hear from Luciana. So three of you prepare after Fernando. Fernando, go ahead.
I apologize for volunteering first.
1 minute.
Because
yes.
yeah, 1 minute. So one thing that we tried discussing about is how are we going to connect our field in connection to using AI. So the good thing about our team is that we are from backgrounds of sciences, social sciences, vocational education, and even cooking, which is a very diverse thing. So one project that we can work on is enhancing the power of storytelling through creativity and STEAM. And I guess that is what using AI, of course, because one thing that we also have talked about, how are we going to start collaborating if we teachers are still in the stage of adopting AI? So we have tried this idea wherein our first stage of collaboration will be creating an avenue or platform for teachers to share resources. So our phase one will be teachers learning together through AI. And then our phase two will be teachers learning together with students through AI in enhancing the power of storytelling through creativity and STEAM. In that way, we will be able to maintain our own field of specialization, adapting to the power of AI and improving creativity and storytelling. So I guess that is the initial idea that we have, and we wanted to collaborate or work on for this project. Thank you.
Okay, so Fernando, you also didn't mention about the issues and challenges of working in a team. So hopefully we'll hear from some other group. Just to clarify.
Yes. I can add, I'm from the same group. And,
okay, sure, go ahead.
We are collaborating already, but I think the issues might be that we have in our countries very different regulations for AI. For example, in China, ChatGPT is not allowed to use. So that's something to think about. And another, I wouldn't say difficulty, it's a plus and a minus. We have very different cultural backgrounds, which is enriching, but we also have to be aware of that.
Thank you.
So that's all for our team.
Thanks. Just to clarify, today the group was random so that you kind of can support your peer and hear from one another about some, ITP design ideas and topics, as well as some issues and suggestions. However, the pair is different. So for who is you regarding who you are going to work with during the action learning phase. We'll be sending an email invitation to connect both of you, and then also the list is available on the learning platform so that you know about all the pairs. So with that, please, Ruth, go ahead.
Right. So like Anna was saying, also for us, ChatGPT came up as the like a focus topic. But we also talked about speech communication, how to develop that in English learning classroom and practice different accents. The students would be, I would say, very interested in that. Also developing stories and in terms of writing, to get ideas for formal writing, academic writing. So that's a huge area. So we kind of stopped on that 2 topics as a focus. And in terms of collaboration, well, we thought that the most probably problematic thing at first would be to decide on a common topic that would interest, for example, both partners. And then, well, also the time differences, workloads and whatnot. And well, specifically, we have to put down the plan first, how to work. And when we work on this project, well, we want it to be practical, something that we can use in our real life classroom setting. So this would be our focus. And that's it from us.
Yeah, very, very practical suggestion, Ruth. Thank you so much. And yes, I agree. If you decide, if you take too much time deciding on the topic, then you might lose time. So it would be actually wise to decide on a topic and then get it started. Thank you. Elisa, and then Louisiana, and then Alenka. Go ahead, Elisa.
Well, we talk about first the project and second the tools. The last one for the tools, but I will talk about the ChatGPT. We think that ChatGPT will have to work in our classes, but students have to make, or they have to know how to make a good question. And maybe we have two groups, one working without GPT and one group with ChatGPT, and we try. Well, the process, we think that transdisciplinary project resolving problems, because they can be developed in classroom using digital tools like Excel, Padlet, and we have to make the project activities and develop work collaborative work. Students have to have to work in active learning and apply to knowledge in all areas, because they have to take the opportunity to use knowledge of maybe science, maybe chemistry, maybe arts, maybe math. Well, and I gave one. We can make maybe how to plan my dream trip. We have to know, to have knowledge in several areas, or how to apply ODS in sustainable food, how to resolve a problem, how am I going to lunch healthy in 10 years ago, far? Well, I am close. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Now, Luciana, please, 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you for the chat. So we have discussed something on our group that we sometimes use ChatGPT to help us as teachers to maintain our lesson plan. So we come out into 2 ideas actually. One for teachers that we plan that we are going to use the AI, for example, ChatGPT as our tools to make better lesson plan, and also we will try to look into another AI to help us in the better planning the lesson plan. And then the second idea is we are going to go with the try to find the interactive material for the students. So we are going to try to use the AI that we know, maybe ChatGPT as our brainstorming to give us the idea actually, and then we are going to find another AI to make the interactive material for the student. And then the issue that we have discussed in our group is, of course, the time management, because we are come from different country, we come from in different areas. So time, we were very concerned with time management. And in our group, the ideas to handle with this issue is we are going to try to handle it and to try to talk about it so we can have a correct time, correct hours to do our project. And then also we should think about how we should meet, I mean the platform, the online platform that we have to use to work together. For example, can we use a Zoom meeting like this or Google Meet on, or how we should put our ideas or our file on the online platform. So I think that is from our group. Thank you.
Thank you, Luciana. Very practical suggestions regarding the issues. Now, Alenka, and then Susanna, and then Victoria. So Susanna from New Zealand, and then Victoria Ching from Singapore.
Thank you. So in our group, we discussed the topics, and of course, the top of it is ChatGPT again. And then, of course, speech communication, developing stories, and using artificial intelligence for collaboration, interaction, motivation, and engagement of students. Then we discussed the issues that we might have working in pairs, and it's all that we've heard already, some of them. We have all different goals, and there are different regulations in each country. Different schools may have different goals, not only individually as teachers, but also we have the institution that guides us, and then the state. So we need to take that into consideration. There are different proficiencies regarding students. Some of them are proficient, some are not. So we have to see a little bit about that. And there is a time zone, of course, and there is also different access to technology that different schools and different people have. So we need to know how to deal with that. And then we have to think about how to create something new, which is a big issue. And then to overcome these issues, we had a suggestion from a colleague of ours, which was great, is to ask ChatGPT to provide some guidelines for us. And then we make the input of our issues, and then we ask the ChatGPT, please help us, guide us, because we want to use you. So there are other suggestions that some ideas need to be brainstormed, and then keywords found, and then also to find the connection between these keywords, as in, let's say, a mind map, to have these guidelines. And of course, so find the common ground on which to work. That's the main, let's say, issue. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alenka. Thank you. Yes, it's great that you can ask ChatGPT, but please be critical of what ChatGPT suggests to you in terms of collaboration. Thank you. So now we'll hear from Susanna, then Victoria, then Julia from Spain.
Hi. So our group had a variety of teachers from different learning areas, which was great. We had some common areas of interest, developing tools for engaging students with teaching, and also teaching students to critique the limitations of AI. The other area was about developing resources for teachers to understand the ethical application of AI, and open that conversation, as well as develop innovative pedagogy by integrating AI. There was a little bit around using it as a planning tool for teaching as well. In terms of the issues and challenges around collaboration, we talked about the cultural differences and also the number of students in class, and which kind of infers the access to the technology, the time zones, and we come up with a few suggestions around using, so one of the group members suggested Google Docs and WhatsApp to keep that communication going, and try and keep to the time zones that we've got here for our meetings as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. We are hearing a lot about ChatGPT, but at the same time, it's also nice to hear that you are focusing on using AI to innovate pedagogy, which is one of the key ideas for the designing innovative teaching practice. So with that, let's hear from Victoria from Singapore and then Julia from Spain.
Hi, everyone. So I'm not going to repeat what the other groups have mentioned already, but I'll just share, I hope it's something new. So my group did talk about how we can use AI to engage the students actively, and that we hope that there's a platform where students can also provide some knowledge and data to feed into this machine learning. Okay, so I think with the teachers coming from different disciplines, I think we had a computer science teacher and a math teacher who did talk about how, you know, it's also crucial to teach students and explain to students how AI thinks, which is, essentially teaching machine learning. And as we talked about that, we also venture into, I think, what a lot of you said about ethics, and that students need to understand the limitations of AI. And then we also talked about AI and pedagogy and how do we use AI. So I think we are still most comfortable with ChatGPT compared to other AI apps out there. And we thought, you know, to have a competition between within the class where students can use ChatGPT and then the other group not use it, and then have a comparison. But then that led us to think, you know, students will definitely question, you know, if they already have ChatGPT, why do they have to still do it without ChatGPT? So that again brings us back to the whole ethics of it, where students have to learn and understand the limitations and the uses of ChatGPT or AI in general. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Lovely ideas. Looking forward to, if you do happen to go for the competitions, we will look forward to learning about the result. Thank you, Julia, and then Tan Shimin from Malaysia, and then Yu Ching Long from China. Please prepare. Go ahead, Julia.
Thank you. In my group, we suggested we would like to work on an introduction or a presentation, a kind of video or something to make the teachers and the students to understand what is AI. And in my case, personally, for an international project, but also to talk about in this presentation about the ethics of the AI. And for example, that ChatGPT is a tool, it's not something that can do all the job or things like that. What is AI and what is it not? And then we suggested as well to guide the students how to use the tools. And as we had different teachers from different subjects like English, maths, music, ICT, we suggested to create different types of activities for every subject. For example, storytelling, or create questions and answers, to work on grammar, or to create a script about a historical character from music, for example, or things like that. We couldn't talk more. We didn't have more time. Thank you.
No worries, but lovely ideas. Thank you. Tan Shimin, and then Yu Ching Long, and then Muhammad Arshad. Please prepare.
Hello. Yeah, so in our group, we discussed about a few ideas. A few tools were mentioned. The first one is Bluekit, and then the second one is Canva, and then Kahoot. And Dios did it from Philippines. He suggested that we come up with a contextualized lesson using Canva as suggested by Shima. And then Christina also mentioned that we can do something on the topic about student wellness through AI, maybe using all these tools that we have mentioned. And then Rocio mentioned that we can, she has an idea to like use AI to organize the school library. And we kind of discovered that throughout this discussion, we discovered that an issue that we may face is the different subject and different syllabus that we may have, because potentially each of us may be teaching in different contexts and different age group. So the syllabus as well as the subject that we teach are also different. So we have managed to list down the age group as well as the subjects and areas that we are interested in in a list. So yeah, that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Shimin. Now Yuting, and then Muhammad Arshad, and then we'll hear from Juliana from Hungary, and then Luisa from Romania, and then Baklam from Kazakhstan, and that's it. So please remember your order. Go ahead, Yuting.
Hello. Our group discussed mostly similar to what other groups have said, but the center of the discussion would be how to the ethical use and responsible use in the classroom. It's a problem not just for how we as teachers can use it to help us in the classroom, but also how to guide the students to use them responsibly. So that's the center of the topic. But then on the ideas of how to improve our classrooms, we talked about generating interesting class contents. We talk about how they can have or fully automate the some of the classwork, how to assess them and increasing the efficiency, or to individualize students, personalize students' work. We also talk about how they can be used to carry out enrichment exercise for students, such and such. On collaboration, one issue that we identified was that we're from very different backgrounds. Some of us have class size of 60 or 70 students. Some of us have 5 or 10 or 15. So and we're from different subjects, and these AI tools are perform very differently on English, coding, math, and science. So for us to collaborate better, it's good to find a common ground first, so that they have an angle, we have an angle that's that we can commonly tackle and can be reasonably practically employed into our classrooms. That's it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yuting. Muhammad Arshad, and then please, Luisa, prepare. You're on mute.
In our group, we discussed various use of AI tools in classroom, like to make questionnaire and answer an evaluation script. Some of us discuss about assessment of assignment using AI tools and assessment of disabled student answer script. Actually, in Bangladesh, it has not yet been implemented AI in secondary level, but many students using AI tools unofficially. The government has taken massive initiative to train educators and other professionals to familiar with AI tools. I think soon AI tools will be implemented at secondary curriculum, and I hope the learners embrace it positively. Thank you.
Thank you. Luisa?
Thank you, everybody. Hello. So in my group, I was with Pilar from Spain, with Fitra from Indonesia, and Kylie from Estonia. And we started from the prerogative that is true for all our countries. Students have lost interest in learning. We have to find new ways for engaging them in learning and create motivation. So little by little, we came to the idea that we have to work on assessment tools and assessment ways so as to make them more effective, so that we should make learning more meaningful. Pilar was suggesting that we have to adapt assessment tools also to all types of students to all levels, meaning that special needs students need a lot of attention, and we should include them in this diverse area of possible candidates for learning, the target for our teaching activity. So we came to the conclusion that we have to create assessment tools which should engage students, but at the same time create diversity for everybody. Inclusion and diversity are a basic principle for creating effective assessment. And Pilar was suggesting that one of the dangers could be focusing more on assessment ways and not on the product, or not on the product and more on process. So we have to balance both aspects, product and process of assessment, so as to make it meaningful for all types of students. Also, Pilar was Kylie from Estonia in my group was suggesting that maybe there is a need for changing of pedagogical tools as well and pedagogical ways as well, because we need to align our assessment ways to the new changes in terms of the influence of IE in order to create motivation and interest. We are still stuck in the old framework in terms of pedagogical ways and pedagogical tools, and we have to align them to the new changes. Of course, then there is the danger of the lack of guidelines and regulations with regard to the use of AI, and of course, the differences in terms of cultural background for our students, but this is another issue which we have to solve. And also consider the differences in curriculum, the differences in objectives, and also create a common ground for our work in our group. But we consider that creating assignment tools would be a good start.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all.
Yeah, lovely discussion in your group and very inclusive as well. So thank you. Now Juliana and then Baklan, and that's it. And then we'll have, we are already at 5 p.m. Singapore time, 11 a.m. European time. Please stay for a few more minutes. We apologize for going over the actual session time, but we do have some quick updates. So please stay for a few more minutes. Juliana, please go ahead. You are on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So we had in discussion, thank you, from Portugal, China, Philippines, and myself with different disciplines, and we focused mainly on our practical teaching experiences. For example, concerning and focusing on China, the chat GPT, which is, I see it's the key word in our discussion. It's raised in all discussions. It's absolutely useful since there are more than 50 students in a classroom. It's absolutely necessary to differentiate, to fulfill individual needs and personalize the students. For example, doing different physics experiments like live broadcasting, etc. So it's really necessary. However, if there are just a few students, I don't see the absolute added value. We don't really see the added value of using such, for example, this chat GPT. And we focused on concerns. We had a few concerns, namely having all the time these ready-made answers and having a very short path between input and output. We have, we are afraid of losing critical thinking of the students, or just having this copy, this how to say, so these ChatGPT might fulfill students' comfort and a kind of loss of proactivity might lead to their motivation at the same time. And the added value of this artificial intelligence might be the absolute motivation of the students as well. And yeah, we listed lots of applications of artificial intelligence, and we tried to, we found there is a brand new application called GPT0.me, which is a free program to detect students' usage of AI, whether they copy or they have their own and added thinking and values as well. That's always the question that remains in our group, and we try to focus on. And I think, yeah, more or less shortly, that was the main issue we discussed.
Lovely discussion, Juliana. Really happy to hear that you talked about students' motivation, because at the end of the day, the key idea for designing the innovative teaching practice during the action learning phase is to really support students. So I think from our discussion, we can confirm that there is a lot of ideas, lots and lots of areas to work on when it comes to AI in education. So thank you so much for such active and lively contribution. Let me quickly share my screen. We have some suggestions, but happy that you already came up with really practical suggestions to support the action learning phase activity. So first of all, let me move
Jota, you didn't see me.
Baglan, my apologies. I think you dropped. I didn't see you on my screen. So yes, go ahead. Sorry. Yes.
I'm sorry. So do you see me? Yeah?
Yes.
You see me?
Can hear you.
Okay, so we started from the tools, that is the classroom screen, whiteboard, quizzes, Google Classroom, Mentimeter, Padlet, ChatGPT, Canva AI, and the Moodle. So these are these with bullets, these are tools that can be used throughout the classroom stages. So do you see my paper?
I see it, but I cannot read it.
Okay, yeah, so these are the tools, and then ChatGPT and the Canva AI, it is the this is Canva AI, and the ChatGPT is the artificial intelligence, and then we can use it, we can utilize it within our classroom, but we have to remember that as per the Bloom's taxonomy, AI can help us up to the remember, understand, and application stage, but the analyze, evaluation, the creating stage, it cannot help. So for that reason, we have to be more careful when we are teaching our students. And then in our group, there were from 4 countries. So we got some developed and not developed. I cannot say developed, but they with different backgrounds. So for example, in our country, we gave our students the laptop and then the parental control so that they could not use the 18+ or something other phishing sites, and then for that reason we use this Moodle to for the blended learning, as it is an active learning tool, and then we have also in the blended teaching learning, we gave them the upload all the materials to the Microsoft Teams, and then we shared the presentations with them, and then Word or everything, the handouts with them, and then after coming class we just start practicing. And then the issue will be when we are employing the AI will be the plagiarism, and then also data privacy is and then phishing will also occur because you are every time on the internet. So we have to be careful with these issues, and then the ethics of correct utilizing AI, because even now you can the ChatGPT can write down the burglary or the bank robbery scene. Yeah. And then for the challenges, we are having the assessment, because the assessment should be enhanced by the AI tools or machine learning, because the assessment of the writing, assessment of the different tasks, yeah, or will take our time, consume our more time. So in order to reduce that time, we have to think about the assessment. That is the one challenge. And then the second challenge is the comprehension of subject by students with special or different needs, because in one classroom there may be some different students, yeah, so one can understand your words from the first minute or from the first second, or other should be spoon fed. So for that reason, in order to have the comprehension well, yeah, we have to differentiate or make a differentiation of our tasks with the help of the AI tools. So we talked about the other classroom, Mentimeter, Padlet, quizzes, Wakelet, and classroom screens. Yeah, all of them can be used for the portion, and then the classroom screen will be used for the classroom management too. Because if you manage your classroom from the very beginning, yeah, it will. The management will take time, and then you will get the success. So it is, yeah, shortly in this way.
Thank you. Maybe some of the tools you have mentioned, because from my side, I couldn't see clearly on my screen. Maybe you can just type in the chat box so that all the colleagues, they also know about the tools you have mentioned. So with that, very quick, quick suggestions on the ITP designing. As one of you mentioned, actually identifying a topic area as soon as possible is the crucial thing to do, so that you can get started with the designing phase. So please identify a topic area that you are interested in, and your teammate also interested in. And then it's really important that you investigate the relevance in the context of your school classroom scenario. As just now Baglan also mentioned about, different needs of students, as well as different types of school scenario, different types of digital resource, availability of digital resources. So investigate the context first before you design. And then really get started to put together the summary first, so that you have an overall understanding of what you're going to do before you embark on putting together the details of the innovative teaching practice. And then finally, we will share a template with you by 3rd of August during our first check-in meeting, so that you will be designing it, but you also need to submit it to us as a final submission from the action running phase. So we will give you a template so that you can systematically and comprehensively document it to share it with us. And regarding collaborating effectively in your team, we highly suggest that you read each other's bios and identity envelope information, which you have already done it. So if you haven't done it yet, please do it by today. And I think during your first team meeting, it's really important that you set some norms and values, how you want to interact with each other, how you want to kind of, in terms of the time, in terms of the meeting time, considering different time zone, what works best for you, and in terms of also to respectfully work with each other. Any values that are important for you, you just share that with each other so that you can comfortably and effectively collaborate. And then you have only 1 month. We know there is a lot to do, and you are really motivated with all these amazing ideas, but please be practical and then set a meeting timeline during your first meeting by when you want to do what, so that you can submit, you can maintain the deadline, the final deadline, as well as the summary submission deadline. And then it's always a good idea to clarify the specific dates and the key responsibilities that each of you will be holding to successfully complete the ITP design. And if you have confusions, or if you want to learn more about, some of you were talking about enhancing engagement in your classroom. So webinar 3 will be revisiting webinar 3 will be a good idea. And some of you, if you are working on generic awareness raising on AI and artificial AI and education, you can watch webinar 1 and 2, for example. And meet as much as you need and regularly. We know that it's a huge commitment, but I think to design a really effective and strong innovative teaching practice, since you only have 1 month, to be able to meet as often as possible would be really great. And finally, please let us know any issue you face, communicate with us immediately so that we can provide you the support that you need as soon as possible. And with that, yes, we will be sharing the result of your identity envelope with all of you soon, so that you can learn about not just your team member, but also your other colleagues from the whole cohort. And if you have not submitted the identity envelope, it's crucial that you do it by today. And then the list of pairs is already available on the Action Learning on the e-learning platform. Please check who is your partner, and we will be also sending you an email. And the response that we expect from you is that you confirm with us that your pair status is strong. You are committed to fully participate in the Action Learning phase by Monday, 31st of July. And then we will have our first check-in session, where hopefully all of you will have strong ideas and already know what to do for the whole Action Learning phase on 3rd of August, Thursday. So with that, thank you so much again, and for staying over almost 12 minutes. Really, really grateful, and all the best with your pair, and also designing the innovative teaching practice for the Action Learning phase. Thank you, and have a great evening in Asia and a great day in Europe. Thank you.